You may remember maybe about 2 months ago, I was talking about this incident in Albuquerque, New Mexico, in which two homeless people were killed by three teenagers. It didn't say any names. It didn't say any nationality of who is who. But that I said this, that the chances are really great that the two homeless people who were killed were Indians, and that the teenagers who killed them were probably Mexicans. I said this because this is a common thing that happens in Albuquerque and Gallup, New Mexico, where Mexican teenagers will. It's not just Mexicans; it's also some white teenagers and some black teenagers too. What they do is they go into these parks where homeless people are sleeping. Most likely they're passed out. Yeah, they go there at nighttime, and they go there to beat them up. Some of the games that they play is that they'll put Indians, that are too drunk to do anything. They put them in shopping carts, and they go to a certain hill, and they push them down that hill. And as they wreck at the bottom, they all laugh and they videotape that, and things like that. And this is racism, yeah. And see, the thing is, this has been happening since the I don't know how far to go back, 1940s, maybe even before that. This has always been happening, and people are saying that among this group of people, these Mexicans and that crowd, is that this is like a coming of age initiation for them, where they say, okay, go beat up some drunk Indians and you can be in our gang. That kind of thing. So it's like a rite of passage to go to these parks and beat up Indians, and sometimes these beatings go too far and they end up killing them. And with these two guys that were killed about 2 months ago, they were these three teenagers. They smashed their heads with cinder blocks. They kept throwing these cinder blocks at their heads, literally smashing these heads up. Literally smashing these heads up. And I said on this show, I'll bet you anything the teenagers are Mexicans and the people who were killed were Indians. Well, guess what? I'm 100% correct. The news is it's being sent around online now. I'm going to post it on my Facebook page a little bit later today. They were 15, 16, and 18 years old. All three of them are going to be tried as adults, and this is premeditated. Yeah, they went there specifically to do this. So there's a good chance that these three boys are going to spend the rest of their lives behind bars. Yeah. Do you call that justice? I don't know. Because, it doesn't matter if these guys were winos, the ones that were killed. They come from families. They come from families who have mothers who love them. They come from families who have brothers and sisters who love them. And now that's gone. This is not a wasted life. It's a human being. But these three Mexican teenagers, they made it they saw it as trash. That they thought that, well, they're just Indians. So they thought they could get away with it. Because they're just Indians. They're useless Indians. They don't mean shit. So we're doing the community a favor by getting rid of two of them. This is their mentality. This is racism. But they're going to be tried as adults, which I think is good. Now, I'm always, I myself, I have strong feelings on this, and it's not because they're Indian. What I don't like is that, see, these families lost family members, the victims' families. They lost family members, and this is a hole in their heart for the rest of their lives. But yet these three are going to be allowed to live for the rest of their life. The taxi, I mean the taxi, the taxpayers are going to be paying for their education. They're going to get free health care. They're going to get 3 meals a day, a roof over their head. Even though they're in prison, they're still in a house. Yeah. But the families of the victims are going to suffer for the rest of their lives. How fair is that? That's just a question. I'm not expecting an answer. I just don't think it's fair that these three even though they're put in prison, in a way they're still being rewarded because they're having 3 meals a day, and maybe these Indian families are starving, but yet these 3 Mexicans are going to get 3 meals a day for the rest of their lives. They're going to get free health care. Yeah? And that's not right. Yeah, in my opinion, this is not right. When you take a human life, it doesn't matter, you know. This is not right. And you might say, but David, if they punish the 3 teenagers by execution, isn't that taking a human life? No, I think that's more balancing the scale there. I mean, they're the ones who committed it. So in effect, them killing the 3 Indians, if you did this with Indian justice, these 3 teenagers would be executed. So they really brought their own deaths upon themselves by killing other people willingly. It's not revenge. It's settling the score. Yeah, when you take human life, you have to give your own up. I mean, when you take human life for pleasure, then you have to surrender your own. That's the price you pay. And that's what these guys did. They did this for pleasure. This was a pleasurable activity for them. And who knows how many Indians they beat up until they finally got caught. Now, I saw the pictures of these 3 because they're being tried as adults, so they can show their pictures and see their names. And what really gets me is this. These guys are brown people. These Mexican teenagers, they could pass for some Indians. Because, see, Mexico has a lot of Indians in its population. And a lot of brown-skinned, Spanish-speaking Mexicans are actually part Indian. And see, this is what I don't understand. In Mexico, a lot of Mexicans in Mexico oppress the Indians that live in Mexico, even though they look like they have the same skin color. Yeah? And now this is the same argument. Here you have these 3 teenagers, these 3 Mexican teenagers, who could pass as Indian guys. And they killed Indian people. But yet they see a difference. That's so crazy. Yeah? It's so crazy that they see Indians as useless, worthless people, and that to kill an Indian should be a pleasurable thing, and that it should be allowed. That's the mentality of people who think like this and do these kind of things. Yeah, it's so sad to see young people throw away their lives like this just because they hate somebody. But the funny thing is that somebody has the same skin color as themselves. Yeah, this is something that's the craziness, the stupidity of only focusing on the outer appearance. And you think you're hating somebody who looks different than you because of their different skin color, and in actuality you're the same skin color. It's just that they speak Navajo and these guys speak Spanish and English. Yeah, using language against each other to oppress. That's not the human way. Yeah, this is not good. Yeah, this is really, really, really not good. And and it's so funny because I experienced something like this, not racism, but a comment. Yeah. Um, in Arizona, I was in Phoenix one time, and of the way Mexicans kind of see themselves a little bit, they see themselves above Indian people. This is what I find incredibly stupid. At this time, this was like 1997 or 1998, I mean, and I had a girlfriend there in Phoenix, and she was a black lady, and very beautiful, and she had two daughters and a son, but the son was he was away when I was there, so just that her daughters were teenagers at the time, 16 and 18 years old, and one of the girls, one of her daughters has long, straight hair, which is kind of different for black people, yeah, because usually black people have to iron their hair to do that, but this girl's hair was long and straight, and one evening we went to the laundromat. Yeah, my girlfriend had just moved there, and she didn't have time to get a washing machine yet, and so we went to the laundromat to do our laundry. My girlfriend and I and her two daughters, and it was a brown-skinned Mexican woman running this laundromat. Now, when I walked in, I thought this was an Indian woman. Yeah, and my girlfriend and her daughters, they go there frequently, so this woman knows them. Yeah, so she saw me coming in with them, and this Mexican lady was really watching me and smiling, and then because I have long, straight, long black hair, and this Mexican lady said to my the girl with long straight hair, the Mexican girl said to her, "Ah, now I know how come you have long black hair. Your dad's an Indian," she said. It's not even my kid, but I was kind of proud of it that this lady thought that I was her father, yeah? Anyway, but the way she said it, yeah, the way this Mexican lady said it was kind of like she's more sophisticated. She's on a higher level of intelligence than Indian people, even though she looked like an Indian. Yeah, and I think that is so stupid when they act like that. Yeah, that they're just as brown as we are, but because they're, you know, I don't know what grounds they have for their mentality because I don't know too much about that culture, and not all of them are like that. Remember, I always have to bring this up. Not all people are the same. Yeah, so I'm not saying all Mexicans are like this. Okay, there's some. I know good Mexicans too. And I know people always say some of my good friends are Mexican. Well, I can't say that. I don't know any Mexicans. I've just never lived there long enough. Yeah. So, but there's good people, everywhere. It doesn't matter what culture, but it seems like, the ones that make the ones that make the news are the troublemakers, and and I just find that ridiculously stupid, that peoples would fight against each other, even though they look the same. So in these schools, there are gang fights, yeah, between Navajos and from Navajos against Mexicans. There's gangs that fight each other, and it's ridiculous because they're both brown-skinned people, but yet it happens, yeah. So this is the craziness of duality, yeah. When people only focus on the outer appearance, like in the case of Indians and Mexicans, you'll see things like, okay, at first you see each other like, okay, They're different, but damn, they look like us. What else can we find to use to hate those people? Then we hear them talk. Ah, they speak Spanish. Uh-huh. Okay, so we're going to hate them because they speak Spanish. They couldn't hate them for skin color because it was the same skin color. Yeah? Do you see what I mean? The ridiculousness of duality and what it makes people do? To hate? To find, any tiny reason to hate somebody. A different group of people, you're among a different group of people and they look the same as you, but you want to hate them because, you know, you don't know them. They're the same skin color as you, so now you're looking for another reason to hate them, and then you realize, they speak a different language. Okay, we'll hate them because of that. That is ridiculous. Yeah, that is so ridiculous. But in the Southwest, it's in America, it's strong tendencies to the duality is really strong there. Yeah, where you do have these two peoples at each other's throats. And it's sad to see that. Yeah, it is sad to see that. But what are you gonna do? Yeah, I think it's gonna take responsible leaders out there to say, okay, the Mexican leaders and the Navajo leaders, they have to get together and say, hey, let's show our people we can respect and work with one another. I think that's what needs to happen. And when people do that, unfortunately, the news doesn't focus on that. Yeah, the news only wants to report shit. So when you have Mexicans and Navajos working together, doing some really wonderful things, the news doesn't care to talk about it unless they're at each other's throats. So then you have the media. Yeah, that's kind of at fault here. The media wants people to hate each other. So who controls the media? You see what I mean? There's always something behind something. You keep wondering, okay, who's behind that? But then who's behind that? Yeah, when you're dealing with duality, there is so much deception. And deception is really oppression. Yeah, and that is not right. It's really, really unhealthy. Yeah, so again, this is all because people are focusing on the outside. Yeah, they're all only focusing on their exterior, and they're not paying enough attention to their interior. They're not paying enough. Maybe they're not even paying any attention to their interior, to their sacred center, until finally there's nothing there. Then they become ganashkiya, crazed. Yeah. So anyway, I just thought I would bring that up because I saw that and I was like, geez, I don't like to be right in these kind of situations, because this just shows me that, the potential for cultures to work together gets shattered every time something like this happens. And people, the friends of these young men are probably setting up to retaliate, yeah? And some Navajos are probably doing the same thing too. And so it's really sad that the media pushes this, for people to hate each other as well. And all of it comes back to this dualistic way of thinking that I was talking about at the beginning of the show. Yeah, so this is one of the fruits of duality. This is racism. Yeah, so that's a really good example there. Just thought I would show you that so hopefully you can learn from that. And that when you deal with people, it all depends on how you are as a person, yeah? If you really have peace inside of yourself, that means you took time to establish that peace, and you're doing things to nurture that peace, which means you took the time. That's the most important thing. You took the time to do that. So naturally, when you meet somebody new, you take the time to get to know them. See what kind of person they are. Maybe they're like you. Yeah, maybe they took the time to know themselves too. Maybe they have peace inside themselves too. You'll never know unless you take the time to find out. And they'll do the same thing. And if they're not that way, you will find out. Then you'll know, okay, I'm going to back away, and I know how to deal with this guy. I'm not gonna tell him my secrets right away. I'm not gonna tell him my secrets on our first meeting. Off guy. Anyway, what I'm saying here, just like I said, please remember that there's good and bad among every group. Yeah, I don't mean to put down Mexicans at all. What I'm focusing on is how people use whatever they can against each other. And when it's skin color, that's what they focus on. Then when they both have the same skin color, then they go scratching to see what else can they use to hate each other. That's what I'm talking about. There's good and bad people everywhere you go.